All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going on a rapid, step-by-step journey through time, unearthing the most fascinating archaeological discoveries hidden right beneath Britain's soil. We're talking about unearthing a million years of continuous history, moving layer by layer to see exactly how ancient landscapes and long-forgotten lives stack up to create the world we walk on today.
To make sense of all this, we've broken this explainer down chronologically into 6 key steps. We've got 1. Deep time and prehistory. 2. Settlers of the Stone Age. 3. The Bronze and Iron Ages. 4. The Roman transition. 5. Medieval to Elizabethan eras. And finally, 6. Into the modern age. Let's get to it.
So, kicking things off with Section 1, Deep Time and Prehistory. We're stepping way back, millions of years before humans even existed, into a world of massive creatures and shifting continents.
Just picture this, 10.5 meters. That's the staggering length of the Rutland ichthyosaur. We're talking about a 200-million-year-old apex predator, basically the T-Rex of the ocean. They actually found this massive marine reptile when the water levels of a modern reservoir dropped. And get this, archaeologists found a tooth from a completely different ichthyosaur lodged right in its fin. Yep, these giants were actually scavenging and cannibalizing each other.
Stepping forward along our timeline, we go from those cannibalistic sea monsters straight to the arrival of early hominins. About 1 million years ago over in Norfolk, these ancient ancestors left behind incredibly sharp flint tools, including one that archaeologists playfully call the butter knife. Fast forward a bit more to 13,000 years ago, modern humans are repopulating a freezing Britain, and we get the first known rock art at Creswell Crags. It's this faint, absolutely stunning carving of a deer left in a cave by people just trying to survive the Ice Age.
Moving right along to Section 2, Settlers of the Stone Age. This is where we see humans gradually stop wandering and really start putting down roots.
This progression is just brilliant to see step by step. We transition from pure, nomadic survival to some serious engineering. Think 8,000-year-old underwater timber platforms in the Solent. Middle Stone Age hunter-gatherers were doing complex carpentry, carefully fitting planks to build dry living spaces in a boggy landscape. And from there, we take the next step into the Neolithic era, with folks finally settling into early farming and livestock communities.
The sheer variety of these finds is wild. You know how they found that Mesolithic timber platform? A literal lobster was tossing ancient worked flints out of its burrows. I mean, you can't make that up. Then, stepping way up north to Orkney, a 5,000-year-old farming settlement showed just how tied people were to their livestock. They embedded 40 overlapping cattle skulls right into their foundation walls. And when they finally packed up and abandoned that wind-battered village, they left behind this tiny, rough-carved stone figure. They call it the Westray Wifey, and it's very likely the region's earliest known household goddess.
All right, Section 3, the Bronze and Iron Ages. Entering these eras, new resources hit the scene, trade explodes, and burial rituals completely shift.
Following our timeline step by step again, we jump from powerful Bronze Age leaders to the earliest evidence of Northern European tin trade shipwrecks off the coast of Devon, all the way to the mysterious, and honestly kind of unsettling, rituals of the early Iron Age. Imagine opening a 4,000-year-old chieftain's tomb and finding no skeleton. The bone mineral had been completely dissolved and redeposited. The body just melted into a white powder. But the things left behind? Wow! A magnificent bronze and gold dagger, an iron ore firemaking kit, and, so beautifully, actual meadowsweet flower heads. It's a surprisingly tender Bronze Age burial ritual that somehow survived thousands of years.
The scale of movement here is a real game changer. Isotope analysis of teeth shows that Bronze Age beaker culture folks were highly mobile, migrating hundreds of miles across the sea from Ireland to Scotland. Offshore in Devon, divers pulled up raw tin ingots and spectacular 8-strand gold bracelets, the remnants of a 3,000-year-old maritime trading tragedy. And as we step into the early Iron Age down in Dorchester, researchers found 3 teenagers buried tightly trussed and bound. Were they victims of a sinister sacrifice, or was it a specific caring ritual? It's a huge mystery.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Roman transition. We're looking at how native Britons dealt with the sweeping power of the Roman Empire, starting in 43 AD.
If you want to see exactly how this cultural upgrade happens step by step, look at the Blackgrounds site. Instead of getting violently displaced by Roman soldiers, local Iron Age people just kind of adapted. They ditched their chunky utilitarian roundhouses, moved slightly down the hill, and built solid stone Roman-style villas. They completely swapped out their coarse local pots for high-status, bright red Samian pottery imported all the way from France.
And urban life during this time?
Absolutely fascinating. A newly discovered site in Barkham shows a heavily fortified trading hub managing taxes and mass bulk goods. Meanwhile, over in the urban center of Leicester, wealth just exploded. They dug up a grand townhouse and found this elite, beautifully enameled manicure set. But right alongside that high-end luxury, they found a bronze key handle shaped like a barbarian being mauled by a lion. It's a pretty gruesome reminder of the amphitheater's real-life bloodlust, sitting right there in someone's living room.
But right next door in Dorset, it's a completely different story. We see this stark cultural apartheid. On one side, you've got the Frampton Roman villa with underfloor heating, lavish mosaics, and Christian symbols. But literally a stone's throw away, the native Duratrigis tribe lived in total isolation from all of that. They kept making their traditional bone combs and polished black pottery. They paid their taxes, sure, but they absolutely flat out refused to adopt Roman fashion or architecture.
Moving on to Section 5, medieval to Elizabethan eras, we're rapidly stepping out of the murky Dark Ages through medieval fortresses and straight into London's raucous Elizabethan theater scene.
Charting these next steps, we uncover the hidden complexities of post-Roman societies, then jump to heavily fortified agricultural manors built by crusading knights, right up to the birth of modern commercial entertainment in the late 16th century.
It's crazy how a tiny scrap of fabric can completely rewrite history. When they analyzed the thread structures of these 5th century Cambridge textiles preserved on metal brooches, it proved that Roman crafting traditions actually blended seamlessly with incoming Anglo-Saxon cultures. We see standard tabby weaves right next to complex Z22 twill, which is actually the exact same weave as modern denim. So history wasn't just a hard stop when the Romans left, it was this incredibly complex blending of people and tech.
As we move forward, the landscape just keeps shifting. In Leicester, the famous Knights Hospitaller built a massive, fortified manor with bright green glazed roof tiles to protect their farm from local forest bandits. Skip ahead to 1598 in London, and the Boar's Head Playhouse is entertaining beer-soaked theater crowds before Shakespeare's Globe was even finished. But as puritanical attitudes took over, that beloved theater was chopped up and turned into a highly pungent industrial factory, boiling animal horns and firing thousands of clay tobacco pipes.
Finally, Section 6, into the modern age, we arrive at our recent history, where the mud of the Thames and eroding cliffs expose the grittier realities of the 19th and 20th centuries.
Plotting our final steps here, we're unearthing the forgotten individuals forced onto floating Georgian prisons, and we're tracing the unbelievable lifespan of a single plucky U-boat chaser through 2 world-shaping global conflicts.
These finds bring such an immense, raw humanity to our history. Over on Burrow Island, eroding cliffs have actually exposed the stacked graves of Georgian convicts who died on horrific, disease-ridden prison hulks moored offshore. In a truly heartbreaking twist, archaeologists even found the tiny bones of an infant mixed among the prisoners. And meanwhile, excavated from the thick mud of the Thames is the ML-286. It's a fast motor launch built hastily during World War I to hunt German subs. What's absolutely staggering is that this heroic vessel, which went on to rescue soldiers at Dunkirk in 1940, was largely held together by incredibly cheap plywood and pure bravery.
So, what does this all mean for us? This entire explainer really proves that history is never truly lost. It's just waiting for the next trowel, or, hey, maybe a helpful lobster to uncover it. When you realize that everything from cannibalistic sea monsters to heroic plywood boats is literally stacked step by step in the earth beneath us, it leaves you wondering, what extraordinary artifact might be buried right beneath